Hey, this is Bruce Cook. I'm just showing more work that I've gotten done out here with my super hot pepper plants that I recently put outside. All right, so I have let me get this all lifted up. Just give me a second here. All right, almost there. All right, so, oh, hang on. I guess I'll get all this up before I continue. All right, so what I've gotten done, and I did this today, is I guess to recap what I had shown off in my last video was that I had freshly just got my plants put outside, and I put this shade cloth tent up to help harden off my plants. So I think in my last video I had shown that I had put 2 layers of shade cloth on top of here, and I was showing off a method that I had used last year to help get these things used to the sun. And I am in my backyard, which I have a large area where the sun does beat down on this area for the majority of the day. And this allows me to safely harden my plants off, being under an area where it's under direct sunlight all day. So I'm able to harden them off without damaging them, and that's putting 2 layers of shade cloth on. And what I would do is after like every week, I would bring the 1 layer of shade cloth up a little bit. So as the sun passes over a certain spot in the sky, it would allow for the direct sunlight. Well, it would allow for the sunlight to pass through that single layer of shade cloth for a short amount of time. And I would just do that like once a week, bring it back a little more, so then the area would be exposed for a longer period of time. Well, so this morning I had to make a different decision, to do something different, because it had rained Saturday and it is now Wednesday. And when I went to check on my plants this morning, the soil inside of these were actually, it was still pretty wet. So they had not dried up at all, which is not a good thing. You don't want your, especially young plants, to be constantly, you don't want the soil to be that wet for that long period of a time. You do want your soil to at least dry out a bit before, you'd go to water them again. If you don't, then you're going to basically drown your plants. You're going to see yellowing of the leaves. The leaves will fall off. If your leaves are falling off, then your plants can't grow properly or, in a good amount of time. So, so this morning I had to do some work out here anyways. I had, I think I mentioned in my last video that I was going to get this black cloth to put on the ground out here. It's the type of stuff that people like to use when they're doing raised bed gardening. But it's stuff that prevents roots from growing, or weeds from growing up into your plants. And in my case, my biggest concern was not just the roots, but having, since I do container gardening, it would be the roots from my pepper plants from growing through the drainage holes and down into the ground. I don't want them to do that. I think this last few years when I've grown out here, my plants, once the roots would start going into the ground and anchoring into the ground, I think they would start absorbing some funky stuff in the soil underneath. And then I would start seeing signs of diseases and everything. So what I did was this morning I went and bought that cloth, and at least for now I only put it under this area. The first thing I did before I put the cloth down was I did buy insecticide. So now I've already hit this whole area up with herbicide, got rid of most of the weeds out of here. And I did that long before I put these plants out here, because I didn't want it to be fresh on the surface and end up getting into my plants and hurting my actual pepper plants. So I took care of the weeds, and then I put the insecticide down here, and then I put the cloth on top of here. I had to remove this whole net where I had to remove all the plants. I had everything sitting over here, and so I put the cloth down, and then I bought black mulch, just like I did last year. So this will prevent a whole lot of things from going on. One, it'll prevent weeds from growing up into my plants. 2, it'll prevent the roots from coming out the drainage holes in my containers and anchoring into the ground and absorbing funky stuff from the actual soil in the ground. And 3, me having the mulch here will also help elevate the plants a bit in case we get heavy downpours. So I don't have to worry about the plants sitting directly on the ground and getting waterlogged. So, and on top of that, it further prevents any chances of weeds growing directly underneath the plants. So, and the insecticide obviously is to keep a lot of insects from making it to my plants. So, and I have had to already, since I put these plants out here, I've already had to start combating aphids, of course. So that they tend to be very active in the springtime. So twice already I've had to come out here with cold pressed neem oil and soap water and hit these plants up. So I did it, I don't know, I think it was Friday I did it, and then it rained Saturday. So Sunday night, or no, it was Monday, I came back out here and hit them up with the neem oil one more time. So, and it seems to be working, but just showing off what I've done again so far. So, but you can see I got my shade cloth over here, the other second layer. So, oh yeah, about that, I was getting at, so I had last year when I had done the double layer of shade cloth thing, that was when I had put my plants out in the summer. So I had put some in early in the spring. It was like March actually, and then I had one last round of plants that I had put out. I think it was like in June, when the sun's out at its most. It was like 90 degree, like past 90 degrees and all that. And if you put your pepper plants out from indoors to outdoors when it's already, the weather's like that, you're risking killing the plants off. So that's when the double shade cloth and then the peel back method, when that worked like a charm. And I didn't have any trouble with the plants at all. But we're only in the month of April, and and I need the moisture in my soil to evaporate faster than it has, so that way I don't have to worry about it depressing my plants, because these just got put into these containers barely a week ago, and I'm not trying to have them experience being waterlogged like that. So I decided to just stick with one layer of this shade cloth. This should be fine. I mean, our temperatures is only getting up into the 70s anyways, and so I think they should be fine. But I mean, I've had these out here for the past couple hours since I re-erected this tent over this after I did all this work underneath, and the plants aren't showing any signs of stress, so I think they should be okay. And this is, I think we're in the mid 70s. So, but yeah, I'm just gonna stick with this one layer. If I do decide to put out or grow more plants later in the year, then I'll have to do the double shade cloth thing. But for anybody who's putting their plants out in the middle of the summer and you're worried about hurting your plants, and you don't really want to have to keep on moving plants in and out of shade, you want to try my method, you'll have to get a couple layers of shade cloth. And just so you know, the shade cloth that I got is 40% sunblock. So, because they do make different percentages of shade cloth, that'll absorb certain amounts of sunlight. So I do have one other piece of shade cloth that I left in the shed, and that was a 60%. I think that was the very first one I ever bought, but I haven't needed that thing in a few years, so it's just been sitting in there, probably collecting mildew. So I just been working with the two 10 by 20 40% shade cloths, and they've worked just fine for me. But anyways, there's my little update, and I'll make another video when I got some more stuff to feature. So I hope you enjoyed the video, and I'll catch you in the next one.